Elon Musk, the richest person in the world, could now become the world's first trillionaire, according to a prediction made by a Swedish investment magazine. Elon got much of his wealth from his Tesla electric car business. Musk has dabbled in many projects during his career to date, from online payment systems, artificial intelligence, and transportation above and below ground and into outer space. On top of that, Musk acknowledges that he has invested in 3 cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. How does he plan on becoming a trillionaire? Could this help end one of the world's major problems? Elon Musk is already the richest person in the world, but he could also become the first member of the 4 Comma Club. Just days after Elon Musk became the first person to hit $300 billion in wealth, the Tesla CEO is now worth 3 times as much as the investing wizard Warren Buffett. Musk's wealth on the index is higher than the gross domestic product of his home country, South Africa, which totaled $301.9 billion last year. Morgan Stanley analysts predicted that Musk could become the world's first trillionaire, thanks in large part to his aerospace company SpaceX. Earlier this year, SpaceX launched 48 Starlink satellites into orbit off the coast of Florida. Depending on how that launch goes, it will be the 27th or 28th for SpaceX in 2021. To date, Elon Musk's SpaceX has launched 20 rockets in 2019 and is exploring new ways to reduce the cost of space travel. Starlink could make the richest man in the world even richer. The recent report by Morgan Stanley valued SpaceX at $100 billion, mostly thanks to innovations on Starlink. Starlink is an innovative company that strives to provide stable internet services all over the world. The company relies on low-orbit satellites that can be accessed anywhere to enable high-speed data transfer at speeds of up to 1 gigabyte per second. With Starlink, the customers can expect download speeds of up to 200 megabytes per second and latency below 20 milliseconds in most locations. As SpaceX rockets become more sophisticated, they can handle larger and more frequent payloads of Starlink satellites, which in turn attracts more customers. This then fuels the company SpaceX, which creates profits that allow the company to focus on developing new technologies. Rocket launches have been a key way for SpaceX to solicit the expertise of NASA, which has sustained a long presence in space through the International Space Station, ISS. The support of NASA has helped SpaceX send a significant body of satellites up into space and create its presence in low Earth orbit. Starlink now has more than 1,700 internet beaming satellites circling the Earth. People can now pre-order Starlink kits that include a terminal that they would install themselves in their homes. It costs $499, but the monthly internet service charge is only $99, which is in some situations cheaper than what most people would pay if they got the same access from another company. Earlier this month, SpaceX's valuation jumped to $100 billion from $74 billion at the beginning of this year. The assessment made SpaceX, of which Musk owns about 48% of the company, the second largest privately held company in the world. SpaceX celebrated several milestones this year, including the successful launch and landing of a Starship rocket for the first time. A few months later, SpaceX sent the first fully civilian crew into orbit. Musk is currently estimated to have a net worth of $250 billion according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Tesla remains his greatest asset. In January, Musk passed Jeff Bezos to become the richest person in the world, only to briefly lose the title to the Amazon billionaire the following month. Musk resumed his place days later after the completion of a SpaceX funding round, according to Fortune. Bezos, currently the second richest person in the world according to Bloomberg, has a net worth of $197 billion, followed by Bernard Arnault, $162 billion, Bill Gates, $135 billion, and Larry Page, $127 billion. In January 2020, Musk was ranked 35th on their billionaire list, but that year his net worth increased by $100.3 billion according to Bloomberg. He became the second richest person in the world in November. Bloomberg reported at the time that Musk's financial push came as Tesla's market share hit $500 billion, which was an all-time high for the electric automaker. So far this year, the billionaire has increased his fortune by $72 billion, an increase of 42.4% from the same period last year, according to Bloomberg. It's a lot of money, isn't it? Is it enough to end one of the world's most critical problems, though? How could a fraction of Elon Musk's fortune feed millions on the brink of starvation? Global famine is a very serious problem. The world's population has reached over 7.5 billion people, and food production has not increased accordingly. Food shortage leads to famine in some parts of the world, which is behind many conflicts. Warlords take advantage of food shortages by recruiting children or adolescents into their armies in exchange for food rations. This serious global challenge was the subject of a recent confrontation on Twitter between Elon Musk and the head of the World Food Program. This made headlines around the world. In October, David Beasley, head of the United Nations Food Agency, tweeted a cheeky congratulations to Musk for making $36 billion in a single day. 1/6 of your one-day increase would save 42 million lives that are knocking on famine's door. Elon Musk's fortune jumped by $36.2 billion in one single day after Hertz Global Holdings Incorporated placed an order for 100,000 Teslas, and filings showed a fresh tranche of options in his moonshot pay package vested. It's the biggest one-day gain in the history of the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, eclipsing Chinese tycoon Zhang Shanshan's $32 billion increase last year when his bottled water company, Nongfu Spring Company, went public. Musk's net worth is now greater than the market value of ExxonMobil Corporation or Nike Incorporated. Days later, Musk tweeted, "If WFP can describe on this Twitter thread exactly how $6 billion will solve world hunger, I will sell Tesla stock right now and do it." While Beasley was quick to make it clear that his previous tweet referred to feeding people on the brink of famine and not solving world hunger, he invited Musk to meet anywhere on Earth or in space to discuss any potential donation. So far, Musk preferred to remain silent and has made no commitments to the agency. Still, the conversation begs the question, how much of a dent would $6 billion make when it comes to feeding millions? After all, based on their annual report, WFP raised $8.4 billion last year, yet the global food crisis has only worsened. Since Musk and Beasley began their conversation on Twitter, the total number of people at risk of starvation has risen to 45 million, along with the cost to help them, which now stands at $7 billion according to the WFP official website. Tens of millions of people are staring into an abyss. We've got conflict, climate change, and COVID-19 driving up the numbers of the acutely hungry, said Beasley in a statement this week. But let's face it, is it fair for Musk to ask WFP to explain how he plans to spend the $6 billion? Well, some analysts agree with Musk and add that while some may view the exchange as frivolous, Musk is right to expect WFP to have a plan for how to use the money wisely. International organizations should have specific plans that are clear about the results they will accomplish. Of course, Musk could say that the money won't technically solve world hunger, it will only prevent world hunger in the ideal scenario. He could state that the plan is not detailed enough for his liking, even though Beasley has offered to meet him to discuss all the details. And if Musk was feeling particularly bad, he might also point out that the plan wasn't fully described on his Twitter feed. But it is very myopic and insignificant to think that just because we cannot immediately solve world hunger with just one lump sum payment, it is not worth doing anything. Last year, about 81 million people in the United States alone experienced food insecurity the week before Christmas. That will be all for today. Tell us your opinions in the comments section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content.